On this episode of Mythbusters, hold on to your hats because the action is fast and furious.
That was awesome.
First up, Adam and Jamie investigate excavators on the internet.
Copy that.
They take to task 3 extraordinary viral videos and ask, are they fact or fiction?
This has got to be one of the strangest things that I've ever done.
Then Carrie, Grant, and Tori rip into the most requested, insane myth in Mythbuster history.
Codename Grizzly.
If a bear tears a hole in your plane, is it really possible to patch it up with duct tape?
Lives are on the line.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage.
What more do you need to know?
And Jamie Hyneman.
It's party time.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Together with Grant Imahara,
A little hotter than I expected.
Carrie Byron,
There you go. Package for you.
and Tori Belleci.
All in the name of science.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. First up, gear up for the rise of the machines.
Are you having fun?
I am, but there is a point to it.
Which is?
Well, we've been gathering videos over the past few months of people purportedly doing incredible things using an excavator.
Like?
Well, we've got one in which a guy seems to be rowing a barge with one, another where a guy actually uses an excavator and climbs in it, and a third where people apparently use one to go wakeboarding.
I can dig it.
I thought so.
Here on the show, we've often shown that seeing is not always believing. After all, the internet incubates fake viral videos like a cyber petri dish. So, Adam and Jamie are approaching these 3 crazy viral videos with a healthy dose of skepticism. Are they real or more film fakery? One thing's for sure, putting the clips to the test by attempting them is going to be an earth-moving experience.
Well, the plan for this seems pretty simple. We take each of the clips one by one and see if we can replicate them with an excavator.
Totally. Can we start with rowing? That's the one that thrills me the most right now.
I don't see why not.
Excellent.
Like Jamie said, the plan sounds pretty simple. However, the execution will be anything but. Just for starters, hiring the excavators and getting permission to get set adrift in San Francisco Bay required some fast talking. But Jamie and Adam are optimists, and crazy is what they do.
This is our barge. These are excavators, and behind me, the open water of the San Francisco Bay. Soon, we're gonna be dragged out into that water, and we're gonna have to get back using only these as our oars. Shall we put these guys in place?
I think so.
All right.
Basically, what we're going to be doing is rowing a boat, except that instead of wooden oars, we're going to be using these buckets. And instead of human power, we're going to be using diesels and hydraulics. Otherwise, it's the same. We lower them into the water, and we push, and hopefully we go forward.
So, after breaking down the key elements of the test, they next discuss the potential logistical problems.
There are a number of problems that we're going to have to overcome, and the first and foremost one is current. If we have a lot of current or even a lot of wind, it's going to make our job really hard. Secondly, we've got to get our act together. I mean, Adam and I have to coordinate so that we're working in tandem to keep the barge on track.
I think we're ready. Look, rowing is easy. Rowing with an excavator is this whole separation between you and machine. It all comes down to technique. This is swing. This is up and down. The technique is like this. Down, swing, up, swing, reverse, down, swing, up, swing, reverse. It's like this tapping your head and rubbing your belly kind of operation that we're not gonna have a lot of time to figure out. We gotta get out there, get stranded in the bay, and get in the zone.
In addition to the tricky logistics required to coordinate their giant mechanical oars, there's also a very real danger of going overboard.
We're not taking any chances. We're going to actually weld these excavators to the deck of the barge, because once we start swinging back and forth, we could swing ourselves right off the barge.
Even welded down, disaster is just one mistimed oar stroke away. catch the barge with the bucket, and the excavator's weight and powerful hydraulics will easily snap those cables.
Hey, Adam, you want to do a little fist bump?
Note that unlike the clip, Adam and Jamie are using 2 excavators instead of 1.
Nice.
But the principle is the same. Can you generate momentum and maintain directional control? To test that, they're getting a tugboat tow half a mile into the middle of the bay and will have to row back. But they're not making it easy. They're set adrift in San Francisco Bay, a waterway with notoriously strong currents and a busy commercial shipping lane. It's a nerve-wracking operation.
I'll be honest with you. When I swing my arm out over the water and all I can see below my cab is water, I get that whingy feeling in my legs. It's a little bit woozy, but I swear I think this is gonna work.
With no time to practice, it's time to put that prediction to the test.
Well, the tug's left. Are you ready?
All right, this is rowing with an excavator, back towards shore. Here we go.
Adam and Jamie, positioned at the front of the barge, go to work. And initially, things look great. They can recreate the rowing action from the video clip. The bucket is lowered, pulled back through the water, lifted out, and reset. However, simply going through the motions is not enough. They need forward momentum and control of the barge.
You might want to slow down a little bit so I can keep the bow pointed towards shore more.
Despite the difficulties of communicating from their awkward vantage points,
Copy that.
a high degree of teamwork does enable them to orientate the barge in the correct direction.
I'm going to start to reverse.
Copy.
But crucially, forward momentum eludes them.
Well, so far, the current is turning out to be a bit of a problem. I'm encouraged by the fact that we are able to control the direction of the barge, but we need more speed. We need more power.
Meaning it's time to call in the tugboat and assess their lack of success. With the guys unable to make any forward progress, it's possible that the movement in the viral video was down to a strong current and not the excavator's rowing action.
So I'm wondering if we don't need some kind of alignment.
The myth looks to be set adrift, but Adam and Jamie aren't giving up. Up next is a Grizzly Sticky story that hit the headlines the world over.
All right, I'll give you one guess. What's this myth about?
Duct tape?
Airplanes?
And bears. It's the old "a bear mauled my airplane" story.
Oh, this is the one where a bear tears into a landed plane to get the food. When the pilot returns, sees the damage, but uses duct tape to repair it and flies out of there.
It's a crazy tale that sent the internet into a tailspin. The story goes that an Alaskan local stumbles upon a stranded plane, tears apart the aircraft, presumably searching for a free lunch, and wanders back into the woods to do what bears do. And our pilot returns to find he's not flying anywhere. It may sound like a tall story, but the pictured evidence is real. Our hero did in fact repair the extensive damage with duct tape. But the question on everyone's social network site is, could the pilot really have flown the patched up plane home?
Look, this sounds like a really tough checklist. I mean, first we need a plane, and second we need a bear to maul it.
Well, the good news is we found a pilot that's actually going to let us use his plane for our myth.
Really? That's great. What about the bear?
Yeah, there's no way we're gonna be able to take a plane up to Alaska and have a wild bear tear into it. I mean, that's just too unreliable. I mean, we could build our own claws and tear it up ourselves.
Now I like that idea.
You gonna be the bear? So we are testing the myth, can you repair a plane with duct tape? Now, when I first heard this myth, I thought this was fertile grounds for Mythbusters. We're building a plane. A bear tears into an airplane to get food. When the pilot returns to his plane, sees the damage done, repairs it with duct tape, and then flies out. Now, before we start, we need to build a plane.
And our generous aircraft owner is James, who confirms his tentative relationship with sanity
Tell you we're building a plane?
by not only allowing the Wrong brothers to assemble the plane,
I wouldn't trust us to put a plane together.
but also by volunteering to fly it after they recreate the myth by tearing it apart and sticking it back together with duct tape.
Now, to test this, we can't use the actual aircraft that was in the myth because the FAA frowns upon the type of modifications that we'd be doing to it and then trying to fly it. But what we have is the next best thing, a B-Light aircraft. It falls under an entirely different set of FAA guidelines, but it has a very similar envelope.
By envelope, Grant means the aircraft's outer skin, a flexible, state-of-the-art polyethylene-based material. A crucial component of the experiment is that ours matches the Myth. That way, the team is testing like for like. They also like the location.
We've come out to the New Jerusalem Airfield in Tracy, California. First, we're gonna fly our plane, and then it's time to bring out the bear.
But before Mama Bear bares her claws, the team wants a pre-mauled control flight to confirm their flying machine is in full working order.
So what James is doing right now is putting the plane through its paces. That's awesome! Just to see if our assembly worked, if everything is working correctly, so that we know what it's gonna do after it's been repaired.
Plane looks good. Now it's time for my favorite part, pulling out the claws.
And sporting a pair of heavy metal handpieces she made back at the shop, Carrie is all set to let rip.
Codename, Grizzly. Now we know a bear can tear up a plane. They've been known to peel cars right apart. But because no bears will be harmed in the filming of this Mythbusters episode, I'm going to be the bear. I've created these somewhat destructive claws with razor-sharp edges so that I can tear the plane apart. Because everybody knows when it comes to a duct tape myth, destruction is kind of my job. All right, here we go.
In character, wielding her weapons in a furious flurry of slashes,
She's a wild woman.
Carrie soon has the fuselage skin in tatters. With her razor-sharp claws, the damage done mirrors the mauling in the genuine photographic evidence. The central cavity is completely exposed. The tail section is seriously compromised, but the metal infrastructure is still intact.
So the damage that you see here is very similar to what we saw in the photos. The task now is to fix it with duct tape and then try and put it back in the air.
A high-stake task they'll tackle back at the shop.
We're really putting duct tape to the test this time. I mean, lives are on the line.
Internet videos of excavator exploits have gone viral, and Jamie and Adam are digging up the truth. So far, although the clip suggests you can row a boat, real life begs to differ. But they're not done yet.
Well, our first attempt was a little bit of a bust. It's a flood tide here in the San Francisco Bay, which means the current's pushing us south into the bay, and it was too strong for us to overcome.
This next time around, we're gonna go a little closer to shore to see whether that makes enough of a difference that we can actually get to our target.
A couple of 100 yards further in, away from the central riptide, they're ready to try again. Cue test 2.
All right, Jamie, we're back in position. You want to try this again?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Once again, Adam and Jamie swing their giant diesel-powered oars into action.
Okay, yeah, now you can come in.
And away from the grip of the rip, their high degree of teamwork begins to pay off.
Copy.
Incredibly, incrementally, they progress towards their goal.
I think we're getting it.
Just like the video clip, they are clearly rowing a barge with excavators.
Well, it took us a little bit of time to get up to speed, to get our practice, to get our sea legs with the excavators, as it were, but once we did, we had actually a pretty fair measure of control over this barge, and it's not small.
Yeah, you brake, I'll turn, and we'll put the stern of the barge towards the dock.
Copy that. This is a great example of how well Jamie and I work together, despite the fact that we don't like each other.
Okay, go forward, Adam.
He's got extensive experience playing around with the momentum of large objects in the water, and the two of us can pick up skills pretty fast.
Let's try one more shove towards the dock a little bit, and then just let it drift.
Even from our really disadvantaged vantage points, we were able to see what the other was doing and intuit what was necessary, and that made this successful. Hey, Jamie, I think we made it, baby.
Well, it wasn't a picture-perfect landing at the dock, but we got within a few feet of it, which is not bad.
Nice work there, partner.
Yeah, so I guess that means the clip was correct. You can, in fact, row with these things.
In a pinch? Yes, you can.
Despite the internet's reputation as a repository of all things fake and fabricated, rowing a barge with an excavator is clearly possible, making the first of the 3 viral videos confirmed.
I think we're done. Shall we move on to the next one?
Sure. What is it?
You're gonna love it.
It's a fact that a bear mauled and grounded an Alaskan aircraft. And these photos, before and after the duct tape patch-up, are genuine. But what caused the Mythbusters mailbox to overflow is the pilot's claim that he then flew the patched-up plane home. Carrie, Grant, and Tori are about to test just that.
First, we took our aircraft up just to see what it could do.
That was awesome.
Then, turned myself into a grizzly bear just to see what sort of damage I could do. Now we've got a bunch of duct tape, and we need to see if we can actually repair this plane and make it airworthy again.
Because as things stand, just like the mythically mauled aircraft, it's definitely grounded.
With this plane, in this condition, would you try and fly it?
Absolutely not. The first problem here is that we've lost our rudder, so I'm not going to have any directional control with the airplane. The good news is that we do have structural integrity, but the bad news is that the skin is gone and flapping in the breeze, creating drag. We've got this acting like a scoop. This is not going to fly straight.
No directional control, compromised control surfaces, and uneven drag.
All right, you guys ready to tape it up?
Sounds like a job for the Mythbusters' favorite engineering cure-all. But surely it's a stretch. Replacing the aircraft's $13,000 aerodynamic fabric covering with a few rolls of $5 duct tape? And while Carrie and Tori focus on the fuselage, Grant concentrates on the crucial control surfaces.
So we've done a lot of damage to this plane, both to the fuselage and the tail section. But this right here, this is the most important part. This is called the horizontal stabilizer. This is called the vertical stabilizer. They're called stabilizers for a very important reason, because they keep the plane stable.
Stability and steering are obviously priorities when fixing a plane, but a strategy to stay intact in flight is fairly important too.
All right, the way we're repairing the plane, we did one skin of duct tape going vertically, and now we've covered it with another skin going horizontally. This way it is in line with the travel of the plane, because we don't want any edges to get caught on the wind and unravel what we have made. We'll have this done before the bear returns.
It's certainly a quick fix. The question is, will it have the necessary structural integrity for a stable flight? Will they come unstuck? With the finished fix-up looking airworthy, there's only one way to find out.
The true test is when we take this thing up in the air, but personally, I think duct tape is plausible for fixing a plane.
Carrie's clearly confident it'll work. However, back out on location,
Hope it flies.
as the moment approaches when James will be risking serious injury on their behalf, their confidence that duct tape will withstand the elements and the rigors of flight is replaced with a nervous caution.
It is so hot out here, and as it gets hotter, the duct tape loses its stickiness. Not only that, we don't know how the tape is going to react once it's up in the air and the wind speed is going across it. I mean, the wind might catch an edge and rip the tape off. This could be very bad. So I think we need to get this plane up as soon as possible.
Next myth, can duct tape fix a pilot?
Been good knowing you.
Nice knowing you.
Despite the danger of the duct tape coming unstuck in the 90-degree heat,
Clear prop.
they won't be rushing into anything.
We're gonna do this the safe and methodical way. So if this thing goes south, we all run, right?
Run is the plan?
Yeah. And that is first. James is gonna taxi up and down the runway just to make sure all the control surfaces are okay.
So far, so good. I don't see any duct tape whipping in the wind.
Once he's comfortable with that, then he's gonna take it up for the real flight.
With several cautious runs up and down the runway, happy that everything feels right, James gives the signal that he's ready to try this for real. This is it. Will the temporary sticky solution survive the rigors of flight? Is it really possible to fix your plane with duct tape?
There he goes.
Exciting.
This guy is insane.
For survival, you You have to do it, right?
It worked!
We fixed the plane with duct tape. Let's see if it holds.
It totally works!
Dude!
Let's hope it does hold.
Yeah,
for
he's
it.
gonna circle a little bit first. Let's make sure it holds, because things can still go wrong.
Carrie's correct. Getting off the ground is one thing, returning to it safely is another.
One interesting thing is that the duct tape is actually flapping a lot more than the Dacron, so I don't know how long you could actually fly like this.
Yep, the airflow across the striped, uneven surface is causing the duct tape to shudder and ripple.
Hope it doesn't shake apart.
But James is apparently having no trouble maintaining altitude or making controlled maneuvers. And there's no sign that duct tape is delaminating.
He's looking pretty stable right now.
And when flight time ticks over the 30-minute mark, the team is confident they can call the result.
This is awesome. This is one more confirmed myth for duct tape. Bear mauls a plane, you can fix it with duct tape and get it back in the air.
How cool is this? I mean, we have done a lot of things with duct tape, but never have we done something that is so important as keeping an aircraft in the air. This one is totally confirmed. It worked!
That was great!
Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Fixing a plane with duct tape. Confirmed.
Stay away from bears. I'm starting to think that maybe duct tape can do absolutely anything.
And up next, the team is going to test that claim by stretching their high-flying heroics to the limit. They're making a whole plane out of duct tape. Adam and Jamie are excited that their first excavator clip was confirmed. You can, in fact, row a barge with a backhoe.
I think we made it, baby.
The next viral video they're testing also falls into the exuberant excavator category. Exuberantly dangerous, for one thing. But is it faked? There's only one way to find out.
Ha ha! That looks awesome. Have you ever wakeboarded before?
No.
Neither have I. Clearly, we're perfect to try this out.
Well, they're perfectly poised for a close encounter with an excavator, followed by a paramedic.
Well, I can't see any reason not to get started.
I'll get suited up.
I'll bring the excavator down.
Awesome.
With the clip as reference, Adam and Jamie have everything they need to attempt this dangerous, typically outrageous test.
This has got to be one of the strangest things that I've ever done.
The ingredients, an excavator, the perfect sized pond, and a few essential safety precautions.
Notice in the clip that at one point our skier swings way away from the excavator and then starts to move back towards it at a high rate of speed. Now, I obviously have some concerns about that, so we're going to do this thing incrementally. I think this is going to work. I'm going to go really slow and then a little faster and faster until we really get a good feel for what we're dealing with.
Perfect day for wakeboarding.
And then the skier has to have one thing to keep in mind, and that is to let go before it's too late. The excavator's got all sorts of hard, sharp edges on it, and it could be ugly.
So to avoid a face-first collision with the excavator, which really would make Adam ugly, he's got to remember just one thing. If things get out of control and he gets pulled in towards the excavator, let go.
I'm nervous about being close.
Which may sound like a simple precaution, but remember, Adam and Jamie have never wakeboarded before. Even under ideal circumstances, they'd be preoccupied with technique, standing up and balancing. And this is far from ideal. There are additional factors to focus on, like rotational circumference, speed of the spin, and height of the bucket. But all of that only comes into play if Adam manages to stand up.
All right, here we go. Excavator wakeboarding. You ready?
Go ahead and maybe start pulling me slowly. All right, let's try that again. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve here.
Learning curve is one phrase. Repeatedly falling with the uncoordinated, chaotic grace of a car crash is another. Question is, Are Adam's falls a failure in technique, or is it just not possible to wakeboard behind an excavator?
This is hard.
Want me to try starting with the bucket up higher?
Hard to say.
Okay, I'm gonna raise the bucket.
Jamie may also be a novice wakeboarder, but he's an experienced water skier and has noticed the angle is too low. Adam has to crouch awkwardly forwards and downwards. Jamie's also noticed there's not enough tension on the rope. Adam needs to go faster, so they adjust. And those few feet and slightly faster spin speed makes all the difference. With Adam's new and improved body position, it's a completely different ballgame. It's not like he's suddenly become a champion wakeboarder, but his perseverance, the tweak in technique,
You're doing great.
and Jamie's careful control of the spin speed means that not only have they confirmed the myth, but the rest of the day's schedule is out the window.
One more time. Well, that might be the most fun I've had in a long time on this set. It was a little touch and go at the beginning, but once I figured out the physical mechanics of it, and I've never wakeboarded before, it's nothing but fun. Yeah! We could charge admission to this thing. Dude, I think that's a success. You want to try?
Sure. Adam was a little slow to get started, but once he got the hang of it, he did great. When I do it, well, I don't have any experience with wakeboarding either. I've water skied, but I'm going to see if I can go a little faster.
With the test result already in the bag, all that's left is a little in-house competition.
You gonna do it with the beret on?
Yeah.
Cool.
Jamie doesn't just want to go faster,
Come to Papa.
he wants to do it with style.
Oh yeah! He's a pro the first time out! One try Hyneman! Dude! You are amazing at that. You wanna go faster?
The moral of the story?
Dude, you win!
Never challenge the Hyneman.
I did good. I think I'm going to take a little nap now.
Well, that wraps it up with a frickin' bow as far as I'm concerned. Jamie turns out to be a champion wakeboarder where excavators are concerned.
Not just Jamie, both he and Adam successfully recreated the wakeboarding exploits in the viral video, which means it's results time.
So wakeboarding with an excavator, busted, plausible, or confirmed?
Well, clearly it's confirmed, but I'd like to add a fourth category for this one. Can we add pure and adulterated fun to confirmed?
Why, yes we can.
Excellent, let's get out of here.
Okay.
Confirmed, unadulterated fun it is. But be responsible, or you'll answer to the Hyneman.
Water skiing off of one of these things looks like fun, doesn't it? Well, it's dangerous, so you shouldn't do it at home.
It turns out that in a bear-induced pinch, like this Alaskan anecdote, you can in fact fix your plane with duct tape.
Okay, so the myth is confirmed, but I'm kind of curious. Do you think we could make an entire plane out of duct tape?
I like it, but how do we do it safely? We could do it with radio control, but a full-size unmanned aircraft requires FAA certification, and that could take forever.
Well, there is one thing we could do, and that's get a pilot, not just anyone, but a skilled test pilot that's used to flying experimental airplanes. And let's face it doesn't get any more experimental than this, and then we'll see if the duct tape works.
Experimental is right. By replacing all of the aircraft's high-tech fuselage fabric, the team is taking duct tape to its aerodynamic limit.
Now, so far, we've been very successful at repairing our plane using duct tape and flying it, thus confirming our myth. But that was only one control surface and part of the fuselage. Now it's time to put it to the ultimate test. And that means ripping up and replacing every surface on this plane with duct tape. And to do that, we're going to use not only our bear claws, but also any sharp tool we can find in the shop.
However, if breaking it was fun, furious, and fast, fixing it is going to be anything but. It's as tough a challenge as Team Duct Tape has ever faced.
Now our plane is stripped and it's time to cover it with duct tape. But we can't just go slapping it on here. I mean, it's not like just plugging a hole. This is a whole different ball game, and it's going to require some strategy.
Their first strategic decision will be weight management. The material they're replacing is equal in mass to just 5 rolls. So to retain the aircraft's balance and power-to-weight ratio, they'll want to use 5 rolls or less. But that is going to be very tricky.
With gravity laying down the law, this is a high-tension build in more ways than one. Now, if we don't use enough duct tape, or if our quick fix isn't solid enough, it's going to be just as disastrous as if we use too much.
And here's why.
So if we analyze the high-speed footage of our flight with the duct tape side, what we see are vibrations that look like ripples in water. Now, with any system that has vibration, what you could do is develop a resonance frequency. And if that happens, it could literally shake itself apart.
To avoid that, they'll need structural integrity and a smooth aerodynamic surface. Their solution is cross-hatched layering. With the base layer adding sufficient stiffness and the top layer running in the same direction as the airflow, their design is looking up. But with their 5-roll limit long gone, their prospects are going down.
When we ripped off the skin of the airplane and weighed it, it weighed 10 pounds, which equated to 5 rolls of duct tape. So far, we've burned through 10. So we have more than doubled the weight of our airplane already, and we're not even finished. But I mean, that's what you get when you're using duct tape and you want the strength and the smoothness, you're gonna be adding more weight. I mean, when this is all said and done, this thing might not even get off the ground.
And as 10 rolls become 11, then 12, and ever upwards, the additional mass is becoming a serious problem. However, once the build is complete, it doesn't stop Tori from pretending to be a fighter pilot.
We finished our final duct tape plane. Now we tore off all of the covering and fixed it with 17 rolls of duct tape. That's pushing the weight limit, and this thing is dangerous enough on its own. So we're not just gonna throw our test pilot up into the air. We're gonna do a little wind tunnel testing first, with our own special kind of wind tunnel.
Now, clearly, we're just in the parking lot. We're not in a wind tunnel like we're normally used to seeing at NASA. But the most important thing here is that we simulate the type of airspeed that this aircraft is going to experience. That's why we have this Hollywood wind machine. That ought to be enough.
Now, the way we're gonna test this is we are gonna fire up the fan to the speeds that the airplane is gonna be moving at.
I don't know why I get this job. I can barely fly.
And then what we're gonna do is we are gonna watch the duct tape and see how it reacts to those wind speeds. See whether or not it's flapping or tearing.
All right, starting the fan. I'll measure the wind speed.
Most importantly, we are seeing if the duct tape is gonna hold. Because let's face it, more important that we find out down here than it is up in the air.
Once the fan matches the airspeed of the aircraft,
50. Okay, come on.
Tori and Grant inspect every inch of the duct tape surface, looking for any aerodynamic compromises. And they're extremely happy with their handiwork.
That looks good.
So it's onwards and upwards.
We got up to a wind speed of 50, which is what the test pilot wants to take it up to. So I say we take it up in the air.
All right, let's see if it flies.
Can I fly? I've had a lot of practice just now.
Adam and Jamie are digging for dirt on Excavator viral videos. So far, they've come up clean.
Dude, you
And last up is this unlikely-looking feat of heavy machinery athleticism. It looks like a genuine video, but is there some sort of film fakery involved? Can a backhoe really back itself into the back of a truck?
What do you think of the clip?
I like the clip. I feel like it's real and like it's possibly doable, but I gotta tell you, I'm a little freaked out about trying it on our own.
What do you have in mind?
I'm feeling like we should bring in an expert, somebody who really knows their way around an excavator to teach us some of the tricks of the trade.
An excavator expert.
Exactly.
Bayside, Adam and Jamie roll up with the necessary heavy equipment and a tough test ahead.
Here's a conundrum. What if you've got one of these and you want to transport it using one of these? How do you get this into that with no other piece of equipment? According to this clip, it's totally possible.
Maybe, but it's certainly dangerous. And to even attempt it, you're going to need some coaching.
We've done a lot of crazy stuff with heavy machinery over the years, but what we're about to attempt is, well, it's in a league by itself. Jason Klapstein is a heavy machinery operator with mad skills when it comes to these excavators. He can practically breakdance with them, and he and his experience is what's going to keep us, hopefully, from dying when we attempt this. So which one's going to do this?
I don't know. Let's Rochambeau?
Okay.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Paper beats rock. I do it! Woo!
So it's an excited Adam
Okay, get out of the way.
in the driver's seat. First up, he plumbs our expert resource for as much knowledge as he can. And then, in an intense hour-long planning discussion,
Make sure that you're nice and square with the box edges.
Okay.
It's not designed to do this.
Jason and Adam
Once you're 180 degrees,
work out every maneuver of their complicated, technical, and incredibly risky plan.
So if I do tip, the bucket hits the ground instead of me hitting the ground.
It's clear that the level of control and skill set required to attempt this is a huge step up for Adam. To pull it off, he's going to have to put in some practice, which is dangerous enough in itself.
Jamie and I have a lot of experience in devices like this. We've used them extensively on the show over the past decade, but our experience is of a particular kind, of doing discrete operations. Ho, 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 ho. Hey, this is scary. This operation requires several things to be happening at once, and if they don't, things can get very bad very quickly. Pushing back?
no, this way.
So it is all about a super coordination between multiple moving parts. Ah! Really?
There are a number of elements to think about at once. Coordinating the boom, the angle of the bucket, and keeping close control of the tracks will be tricky.
Just like that.
But Adam's ready, or as ready as he'll ever be.
Let's do this, people! I'm a little nervous. We are just about to step into the I really hope I'm able to make this work category.
Excavator loading itself into the back of a truck.
Starting out, aligning yourself with the back of the truck seems perfectly straightforward. Put your bucket in the back of the truck. Start to lift yourself up. That's where the first problem starts to occur. Oh!
Adam should do fairly well with this attempt, but you know, he's a little bit of a mystery because on the one hand, he's got a fine touch, but then on the other hand,
Oh!
well, he's sort of twitchy. This is not exactly what you want if you're trying to climb on top of something like this truck with one of these machines.
Fasten your seatbelt and stow your tray table. The Mythbusters are attempting a duct tape takeoff.
We're back at New Jerusalem Airport for the final experiment with our duct tape plane. And up to this point, we have played it very safe. We've only tested it on the ground with a giant fan, and we're ready to go. This is going to be the ultimate test.
For the ultimate test of their duct tape plane, that's right, a duct tape plane, the team made a call to the ultimate test flight Top Gun.
For our duct tape experiment, we're using test pilot Dave Moore. Now, he's flown over 40 prototype aircrafts. Those are airplanes that have never been flown before. I think that makes him the perfect person for this job. In fact, I think I hear him now.
Nice flyby. Now, here's Tori with the flight plan.
He's gonna start off slow. First, he's gonna taxi down the runway. Then, when he feels comfortable, he's actually gonna take it up, but only as high as he's willing to fall, which is 5 feet. This is the most dangerous test that we have ever subjected duct tape to. We have our fire department standing by. Let's hope we don't have to use them.
Make no mistake, this is a risky business. Even with a typically low-altitude test flight, a crash at over 50 miles an hour with no hard shell protection or roll cage could be disastrous.
All right. Down the runway.
Before Top Gun Dave attempts flight, he needs to thoroughly test the aircraft's responses while taxiing.
He's a test pilot. This is what he does. So he's feeling it out to see if it's actually airworthy.
And the early signs are anything but promising. As he taxis faster, gusting crosswinds become a real issue, and the plane looks unstable.
Looks like he's kind of wavering back and forth a bit.
Yeah, you know what? Adding all that duct tape has actually moved his center of gravity way back. He's tail heavy right now.
I don't know, he just shut off the engine. He may have changed his mind.
Clearly, something's not right.
Turn the engine off. What's going on?
Well, it's getting kind of gusty. I can't tell what the wind is doing and what the duct tape's doing, and I need to be sure which is which.
Flying a prototype is all about feedback and feel. The wind, peaking at 30 miles an hour when the plane is rated for just 12, is dangerous enough in itself. But more importantly, it's masking any feedback info from the aircraft's control surfaces.
Our test pilot started taxi down the runway. The tail's a little squirrely, but then he stopped. It looks like it's getting thrown around by the wind, and he needs to be able to tell if it's the duct tape or the wind that's making him move around. Because if it's the duct tape and we start to get a resonance, it could make him crash.
We don't want the airflow coming over the wing to peel it back. That'd be bad.
With the duct tape pressed firmly back into position, it's a race against time. The longer the tape is exposed to the sun, the more likely it is it'll unstick. But there's good news. With the wind easing, Dave resumes his tentative taxiing. And after one more earthbound run, the team gets the signal that Dave is ready to attempt the world's first duct tape liftoff.
This is it, he's going for it.
To see the tail off the ground.
That was indeed the maiden voyage of an aircraft made of the world's most useful sticky stuff.
Great job! Awesome!
With the wind still gusting over the 12 miles an hour limit, that's as high as Dave was prepared to go.
So our duct tape plane actually achieved flight. Now, granted, it wasn't a very long flight at not a very high altitude, but look, these planes, stock off the line with regular covering, no duct tape at all, would have a hard time flying in these gusty winds. I'm fully convinced that on a calmer day, Dave could have gotten a much longer flight at a higher altitude. The Wright brothers, their first flight, only 120 feet. We beat them.
Dave, you did it. You flew a duct tape plane and survived.
You betcha. And I'm still here.
How'd it do?
It was so much better than I expected. We're flying in gusty wind conditions that exceed what the airplane's recommended to fly in with normal fabric on it. And it's doing great. It was a heck of a ride, but it did great.
So, successful experiment?
Confirmed.
Yep, when confronted with a Grizzly Sticky situation, duct tape has once again exceeded all engineering expectations. Myth confirmed. The internet would have us believe you can heave a backhoe into the back of a truck. And Adam and Jamie are testing just that. But despite the obvious danger, Jamie has crunched the numbers and believes it is doable.
So what brings all this together and should make it possible is the fact that our excavator has tracks that have 80 inches of ground contact. Our truck has a bed that's 50 inches off the ground. And so if you lift one end of the excavator up and put it on the back of the truck and you do the geometry, you end up with an angle that's about 38 degrees. Now, given that this particular brand of excavator is rated to run at 45 degrees, If it has enough power to lift the other end, we're golden.
However, the proof is in the practice. And while Adam has practiced the pre-planned maneuvers, pulling them off in a 10-ton vehicle is an entirely different matter.
Perfect.
This qualifies as one of the spookier things that I've ever done on this show. And by spooky, I mean that tingling in your hands and your feet when you're doing things and at angles that just feel totally wrong for your body.
That's pretty steep.
Steep, but that was the easy part. The crew gets ready to dial 911 because now it starts to get really tricky.
Well, he's got the front end on the truck. Now he's got to lift the other end.
All right, so now I come up and over and down.
With the machine perched at a precarious angle,
Oh, hey, this is really not cool.
Adam has to precisely and smoothly lift the bucket and boom up and out of the truck. Any sudden movements could see the excavator topple sideways with Adam in the unprotected cabin.
All right, I gotta go slower.
He's all sideways. That's got to feel really wrong.
Make no mistakes.
Steady.
Spinning 180 degrees while you're leaning at a 45-degree angle just feels plain wrong. It's not cool. My body is like,
Stop this. There you go. Now, can you pick yourself up at all?
The next terrifying step is to use the boom to lever the back of the tracks up and into the truck. All the while, Adam has to adjust the curl of the bucket to prevent it from slipping, which would cause him to topple.
Now add a little bit more lift.
all right.
He also has to monitor and adjust the height of the weighty blade to stay balanced.
Do you need to go to the bathroom or anything?
Oh, I've already gone to the bathroom.
And he has to retain smooth control over the movements of the boom.
Boom down, stick out.
But on the home stretch, Adam's confidence, just like the excavator, is reaching new heights.
Holy crap, it's working.
You're in. Looking good.
Once I actually started to lift myself, things feel a little more like they're in my control.
But feeling like you're in control is when lapses of concentration happen.
Adam, remember which way is forward.
Oh, right. I gotta push that.
That's right.
Uh-huh. That can be a problem.
Thank you. I owe you one.
Adam, about to back into the truck, had forgotten he'd spun 180 degrees, and back is forward.
You're almost home free.
With that sorted, he eases into the truck and triumphantly completes the final step.
All right, here's the moment of truth. Bucket off the ground. Woo! I'm in. That was scary.
Good job.
Jamie's right. It is a fantastic achievement, but an exuberant excavator achievement that should not be attempted at home.
Well, you did it.
Another video that wasn't faked. It's like we have a whole episode here of plausible and confirmed. Let's get out of here.
Okay.